So we'll come to Samasthiti. Equal standing pose with the big toes together and the heels slightly apart, or you can separate the feet a little bit more. And we'll just take a couple moments here to settle in. You can close the eyes if that helps you, if that supports the process of drawing inwards or withdrawing the senses to feel into the space of the body. And I like to notice this moment right from the beginning, that there's already a shift. From the moment you step on your mat and you make that intention to just focus inwards and to feel into the body, there's already this shift of energy that you can feel. Compared to when you're focusing outwards and you're interacting and you're moving around and you're focusing on things that need to get done. Right now, you're just focusing on what is. And already the different space that you've shifted into and settled into. And just take maybe a couple deep breaths here. As you inhale, feel the feet root down into the mat. And as you exhale, feel the heart lifting, the crown of the head reaching up. One more breath with a gentle tone in the vocal cords. Inhale as you root through the legs, strengthen the legs, tailbone drops. And as you exhale, as the crown of the head reaches, the shoulders relax, the jaw relaxes. So let's bring the palms to Anjali Mudra for the opening mantra. Inhale. Vande Gurunam Charanaravindeya Sandarshita Swatma Sukhavabodhe Nishreyase Jangalikayamane Samsara Hala Hala Mohashantye Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakrasi Dharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shwetam Pranamami Patanjalim. Exhale, bring the arms down to your side. We'll start with Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, bring the arms over your head, palms touch. Exhale, fold. Let's take this first one nice and easy. Bend the knees if you need to. Inhale into half lift, lengthening the spine. Exhale, palms flat into a plank position. Lowering down, you can lower the knees through Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, just lifting the heart into Cobra or into upward facing dog. Again, easing into this first one. Exhale into downward facing dog or child's pose. So we'll settle in our first downward dog or child's pose for about 5 breaths. And just taking a moment here to feel into the body, just sort of check in where the body and the mind are today. And the energy, where your energy's at, all these layers of the body. Matching the length of the inhales to the length of the exhales. In and out through the nostrils with a gentle tone in the vocal cords. One more breath. Fully exhale, and at the bottom of the exhale, bend the knees, drop the tailbone, gaze forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale into half lift. Exhale as you fold, fully exhaling. Inhale, come to stand, pressing down as you reach up. Exhale, float the arms back down into Samasthiti. Again like that. Inhale, arms over your head. Exhale, fold, moving with the breath. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back, lower down. Always lower the knees if you need to. Inhale, point the toes, lift the heart any amount. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, settling in downward dog or in child's pose. Steady breathing, settle into the breath, into the sensations of the breath, settle into the sound of the breath. And the expansion of the breath as it moves in, the rib cage expansion, without forcing or gripping or holding the breath. One more. Fully exhale. Step or jump to the top. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come to stand. Press through the feet. As you reach up through the pinkies, exhale, float the arms back down into Samastitihi. Inhale, arms over your head. Exhale, up and over as you fold. Draw the lower belly in. Inhale, half lift, lengthening. Exhale, step or jump back. Keep the shoulders away from the ears as you bend the elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. Maybe lifting the thighs as you reach the toes back. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, spreading the fingers, pressing through the hands. As you push through the hands and you reach the sit bones up and back, you're wrapping the shoulder blades around towards the front of the body. So you're spreading the upper back. As you keep the neck relaxed, gazing up towards the thighs or towards the navel. One more here. Fully exhaling the bottom, bend the knees, prepare to step or jump. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come to stand, pressing down. Tailbone drops as you lift through the rib cage. Exhale, float the arms back down. Last one for Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, arms over your head. Exhale, up and over as you fold. Pull the torso in towards the legs. Inhale, half lift, press through the feet. Exhale, step or jump back. Keep the lower belly toned as you bend. Inhale, lift the heart. Reach back through the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Settling. Feeling the breath, appreciating the breath as it continuously moves. One more. At the bottom of your next exhale, bend the knees, drop the tailbone, gaze forward, step or jump to the top into half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, standing as you press down and reach up. Exhale, float the arms as you reach to the crown of the head. Surya Namaskara B. We'll do 2, and the first one, I'll add in those extra counts. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, reach the arms up in Utkatasana. Exhale, up and over as you fold, straightening the legs as much as it's comfortable. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale here as you turn the left foot. Exhale, right foot forward. Inhale, rising up into Virabhadrasana A. Exhale, come back down and frame the right foot. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, turn the right foot. Exhale, left foot comes forward. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, come back down. Step back as you inhale. Exhale, lower down. Take your time. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Settling. Maintain that even inhale and exhale as you hold this posture. but it doesn't mean that the posture is static. It's constantly moving, micro adjustments from the inside out. We'll take one more breath. Step or jump on your next inhale into half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Now with less counts, but feel free to take the extra counts in between. Inhale into Utkatasana, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Turn the left foot, right foot forward. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, come down, step back, and bend the elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Turn the right foot, left foot forward. Inhale, come up. Exhale, make your way down. Finish the exhale at the bottom of the plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Or, of course, child's pose. Settling. Maintaining the pace of the breath. Legs are strong, actively pressing the hands down, and then softening wherever you can. One more breath. At the bottom of your next exhale, bend the knees, drop the tailbone, gaze forward, step or jump. Half lift as you inhale. Exhale as you fold. Inhale, bend the knees, reach the arms up. Exhale, Samasthiti. Good, Panangushasana, bring the feet hip-width distance apart. Inhale, fold forward with a long spine, catch the big toes, bend the knees if you need to. Exhale, fold as you continue lengthening the spine. The legs are strong. So if the legs are straight, make sure you're actively lifting the kneecaps. And it starts from the ground by lifting the arches, lifting the kneecaps, lifting the sit bones, and then releasing along the spine, all the way out through the crown of the head. Deep breaths. One more here. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Fully exhale there. Keep the legs strong, pressing the feet into the mat as you bring the hands underneath the feet. We'll take another inhale as you reach the heart forward. Exhale, fold as you continue lengthening the spine. At the very end of the fold, or wherever the fold is for you today, softening the muscles along the spine, softening the neck. Keeping the legs strong, remember bending the knees if you need to. And that really helps to release the lower back if you have some tension there. One more breath. Pulling yourself a little bit deeper in on the final exhale. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Fully exhale. Inhale as you come up, tailbone drops and the heart lifts. Exhale into Samasthiti. Utthita Trikonasana. Inhale, step the right foot back. Right toes pointing towards the back of the mat. As you exhale, reach through the right hand and move into your triangle pose. The right hand can either go on your ankle, can catch the big toe, or it can come onto a block. Good, settling. Deep, steady breaths. Legs are super strong, pressing the feet down and away from each other. One more breath. Fully exhale. Inhale, come down, draw the lower belly in as you come up. Pivot the feet. Exhale, other side. Reach and lengthen as you move in. And then as you take your first inhale, gaze up towards the right fingers. If that's too much for the neck, gaze to the side, or you could even gaze down. But if you gaze down, keep that upward moving energy through the right hand to counteract the direction of the feet rooting down. Legs are strong. One more breath. The bottom of the exhale, tone the lower belly to inhale, come up. Pivot around, face the back of the mat for B. Exhale, reach forward. As you come down, the left hand comes to the inside of the foot or the outside of the foot. Always have the option to use a block. And then reaching the right arm up to twist the spine. So that back left foot is at 45 degrees. And you can either have the heels in one line or the heels in two parallel lines. It'll change how stable the posture feels. Drawing the lower belly in as you press the feet down into the mat. One more breath here. And as you exhale, gaze down for balance. Gaze at the right foot. Inhale, coming out of it. Exhale, pivot around, other side. Reach forward, 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 and down, down, down. As you reach the left arm up, moving the torso into a twist. And then settle into the breath. Deep breaths, steady breaths. Listening to the sound of the breath. One more here. Exhale, gaze down. At the bottom of the exhale, tone the lower belly to come up. Open to the side. Squeeze the heels in towards each other. Exhale into Samastitihi. Uttita Parshvakonasana. Inhale, step the right foot back. Wider stance this time. Exhale, pivot the right toes. Bend into the right knee. Move into Parshvakonasana. Either bring the forearm to the thigh or the right hand to the floor on the outside of the foot, or a block, of course. And you want to try to press both feet into the mat again. Deep breaths. Keep drawing the lower belly in as you reach to the left pinky. So you feel that stretch through the side of the body. One more breath. Inhale, coming out, strong legs. Exhale, pivot the feet and bend into the left side. Feeling that sense of expansion as you move in. And so feel like you're pressing the feet and you're lifting from underneath the thighs so that you're not collapsing. You feel a sense of grounding. And then as a result, a sense of lightness through the upper part of the body in this posture. One more breath. And at the bottom of your next exhale, connect to the pelvis, tone the lower belly to come up. Exhale, pivot around for B. Twisting version, you can keep the knee lifted or lower it down. Exhale, round the spine, flex the spine to move into the twist. So the left elbow comes to the thigh. Hands in prayer, or you could always slide the shoulder to the outside of the knee and the hand comes to the floor. Maintaining the pace of the breath becomes a bit more difficult in twisting, but see if you can focus your attention on maintaining the pace of the breath. Clipping that right hip back. One more breath. Exhale, gaze down, tone the lower belly, drop the tailbone as you come out of it. Inhale, exhale, other side. Flex the spine as you move in. Stay with the breath. Keep bending into the left knee as you clip the left hip back. So it feels like you open up that space between the left hip and the left side of the rib cage. Steady breathing, one more. Exhale, gaze down, pelvis, drop the tailbone. Inhale, come out of it. Squeeze the heels towards each other. Exhale into Samasthiti. Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, step the right foot back, hands to the hips. Exhale, fold forward, hands to the mat. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Maybe you're walking the hands back, sliding the torso through the legs. Maybe the knees are a little bit bent. Legs are engaged and strong, without over-tensing, without a sense of gripping, but rather a sense of stability. Just notice how you do things and how you hold the body internally has like an energetic effect throughout the whole body and through the mind and through the breath. Just noticing those connections. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale there. Inhale, again drop the tailbone, draw the lower belly in, come up, exhaling at the top. Let's do all four today. B, inhale, reach the arms. Exhale, hands to the hips. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Keep the hands on the hips. Give the neck a lot of space as you lift the shoulders away from the ears. Again, legs are strong to create stability, not to create tension. There's a difference. One more breath. Inhale, drop the tailbone, lift from the lower belly. Exhale at the top. Inhale, reach the arms to the side. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, straighten the arms if that's accessible for you. Exhale, fold forward and allow the hands to move away from the hips. If your shoulders need a little bit more space, you can grab onto a towel or a strap. And instead of trying to get the hands to touch the floor, just giving the hands a little bit of tension, the arms a little bit of tension, and then on the exhale, softening as much as you can, and then just seeing where the hands end up as a result of that process. Speaking from experience, one more breath. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands to your hips. Last one, inhale, lift the heart, standing up tall. Exhale, fold forward, catch the big toes. Inhale, lengthen the spine, find that stability through the legs. Exhale, fold as you draw the lower belly and lengthen the spine and move into the forward fold. Gently gripping the toes, relaxing the neck. And as you inhale, expand from the rib cage in all directions. One more breath. Inhale, look up and lengthen, fully exhale. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, squeeze the heels and come back into Samasthiti. Last one here, bring the hands into reverse prayer. So either palms together behind the back, or I'm just gonna do fists together behind the back for today. Step the right foot back, face the back of the mat and lift the heart. Exhale, fold forward as you square the shoulders over the right leg. And then keep pressing evenly down through both feet. Again, keeping the legs strong to give the entire posture a sense of stability, sense of foundation. One more breath here. And as you start to come up, draw the lower belly in, tailbone drops, heart lifts, pivot around, lift the heart again. Exhale, keep the heart reaching forward as you press through the feet to fold. Settling in. Keeping the tone in the vocal cords without over-engaging the throat. Soften, release the soft palate. One more breath. Inhale, come all the way up. Pivot to the side, release the hands again, squeeze the heels. Exhale into Samasthitihi. Good, let's make our way down to the floor. Inhale, arms over your head, palms touch. Exhale, up and over to fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's jump through to seated. You could also just lower the knees, cross the ankles and sit back behind the feet. And let's come into Dandasana. Keeping the legs straight, flexing the feet and finding the shoulders over the hips. Bringing the hands somewhere next to the hips to find a straight spine and drop the chin. Take a few breaths here. And again, feeling that lift just above the pubic bone. The lift that kind of helps you get this sense from the inside of lifting the energy towards the heart, of lifting the prana towards the heart, so that when you inhale, you really feel that expansion all around the rib cage, from the lower ribs all the way up into the chest, and all the way around as well. Feeling the residue from the standing postures, from the effort we put towards stabilizing and connecting to the earth. Let's take one more breath here. We'll just take one forward fold. Inhale, reach forward to catch the big toes. Legs are strong, feet are awake. Reach the heart forward, and then exhale as you fold over the legs. Good, stay there. Keeping the legs strong and the feet awake. Lengthening the back side of the body, back side stretch. One more breath. Inhale, look up. Exhale there. Let's go into Purvottanasana. Point the feet, slide the hands behind the hips. Inhale, start to come up, reach the toes forward, the pelvis up, the heart up, and if the neck feels okay, drop the head back. Good, keeping the feet together, spiraling the legs in towards the center. Deep breaths. Maybe lifting the pelvis a little bit more, and lifting the heart between the shoulder blades. One more breath. Exhale, lower down. Let's take a vinyasa. Cross the shins, lift up. Or you can roll over the feet, step back into a plank, lower down, inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. And we're gonna work a little bit with our Ardha Baddha Padmottanasana, our half lotus, bending the right knee, let the knee fall out to the side, catching from underneath, bringing that leg as high up as you can, towards the left hip crease. You can even aim the right heel towards the navel. And then allowing the foot to softly land where the outside edge of the foot is coming up as high as it can on towards the left hip crease. And the knee, just let the knee land wherever it lands. So don't force it down to the floor. Maybe taking the bind with the thumb pointing down, the right arm reaches around and catches the big toe side of the foot with the palm facing down. Squaring the shoulders. You could also use a strap here around the foot to make your arm a little bit longer. Inhale, fold forward, catch the outside of the left foot or fingertips on the floor. Exhale, fold. Good. And if this is too much, for whatever reason, maybe you have something going on with the knee, then you can stay up with the foot like at a flamenco, just above the knee with the foot flexed. You can even fold forward like this if you'd like, or you could even lean back and bend the knee and bring the foot towards you. So a few different options. You can be here, you can be here. And if you're in the posture, you're breathing, or you can be here. We'll take a couple more breaths wherever you are, feeling into the space of the hip, also the external rotators around the glutes, those muscles. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale there. Good. Come out of it slowly. Come out of the rotation first, and then open the knee joint. So just reverse the way you came in. Left side, close the knee joint, and then move into the rotation, pulling that foot up towards the hip crease, or the foot above the knee. Taking the bind if you're working with the lotus. Good. Make sure that the hips are in one line. A lot of times I see this happen with the lotus position, and sometimes I'll make it harder to take the bind because the foot is further away. But if you square the hips, then everything's sort of in place. All right, inhale, catch the foot or fingertips alongside the leg, and exhale, fold. Or again, if you're in that figure 4 position, you also have the option to lean back onto your fingertips and bend the right knee. Just depending on where you are. Settling in, feeling into the hip. If at any moment the knee feels any sharp pains, then abort. Let's take one more breath wherever you are. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale there. And then coming out of it, remember, come out of the rotation first and then open the knee joint. Let's take a vinyasa across the shins. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, jump back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. Okay, so I want to work us up towards Karandavasana. So I'm just gonna like break it up into a lot of different parts, and then we'll try putting it together. So the first part I want to look at is, since we're already working with lotus, is getting into the lotus position. So this becomes like the first challenge is just like balancing in the inversion. So today we're either going to balance in the forearm stand, or we're going to balance in the headstand, if you even decide to try all of this in the inverted phase. The second challenge becomes bringing the legs into lotus. So we're just going to play around here. We're going to lean back onto your hands and just relax the legs as much as you can. So we're going to try to get the legs into lotus without using the hands, because when you're in inversion, you don't have your hands available. So first we're going to bend the right knee, bring the knee out to the side, and then see if you can lift the right foot and bring the foot up towards your left thigh. Good. And then if you do it faster, maybe you can bring the leg a little bit higher to use a little bit of momentum. Yeah. Good. We'll just do one side. So you kind of lift, bend, and then lift the foot up. I know, easier said than done. And now, if you bend the left knee, maybe that helps with sliding the foot down towards the hip a little bit more. Okay, let's try the other side. Release that. Bend the left knee, bring the knee out to the side, lift the foot and bring it to the thigh. And then if you speed up that process, yeah. So first I kind of focus on getting the foot there with the knee up, and then I relax the knee. That's what works for me. And then you notice here, if you start to bend the right knee, that might help you to slide the foot down a little bit more, like kind of wiggle it. Good, okay, now we'll try both at the same time. So even if you just got to your knee, that's great. Yeah, and this kind of becomes like this active mobility, this active flexibility. So now we'll try both at the same time. So first, right leg, knee up, and then knee down. And then lift the knee, start to lift the knee so you can slide that foot down a little bit more if that's available. And then bring the left foot towards your right knee. So maybe you just get it to the right knee. And now here, you can start to wiggle the foot. So I kind of alternate between pointing the foot and flexing the foot. Wiggle the foot, wiggle the foot, wiggle the foot. And then maybe squeeze the knees together towards each other. That also tightens the lotus. And of course, whether or not you're able to come into a full lotus without your hands is going to depend a lot on your hip flexibility. So don't worry so much about like getting into a perfect lotus. We're just kind of like introducing new skills if you've never done this. So let's just try that one more time. Right foot. And if you want to extra challenge yourself, flip it. Do left foot first. And then right foot. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay. Good. All right. So that's one piece of it. Another piece of it is that rounding in, that coming down, that really curling of the spine. So first, what I want to do is lying down. I'm going to show you so you can watch me first. So starting with the knees bent, we're going to first just bring the knees to our chest. So keeping the hips or keeping the lower back on the floor. So I like to think of this as part one of lowering down into Karandavasana. So part one. And then part two is the rounding part that allows us to get the knees closer to our arms or our armpits. And that's this section. So we're going to lift the hips off the floor, lower the hips down, and then bring the feet back down to the floor. And so when we do this, you're going to lower, maybe just try touching the big toes to the floor, but keeping the lower back pressing into the mat. So we'll start here, laying down on your back if you haven't already. Toes touching, lower back touching, front of the body is already engaged. Good. So inhale, bring the knees to the chest. Exhale, now try to bring the knees towards your nose as you lift the lower back. Exhale, lower the pelvis. Inhale, lower the toes. Good. Exhale there. Inhale, knees, thighs to your chest. Exhale, knee to your nose, pelvis down, toes down. Again, thighs to your chest, knees to your nose, pelvis down, toes down. Now if you want to make it a little bit harder, instead of toes down, legs straight out, hovering off the floor. Knees, thighs to your chest, knees to your nose, lower the pelvis, straighten the legs, or bring the toes to the floor. Let's do that like 5 more times. Thighs in, knees to your nose, pelvis down, legs out. 2. And like try to slow down every part, especially the part when you lift the pelvis and then lower the pelvis. Try to control that. Legs straight out. Good. I'm on number 3. Control the pelvis lowering. That's really good work. I got 2 more. And just really feel for this last one what the spine is doing and what the pelvis is doing. Good. And let's take a break there. Good. And sit back up. So that musculature is really going to help you to actively round the spine. And this is really helpful for like any arm balance, that curling of the spine, but doing it actively. Yeah? So let's come into Baddha Konasana just to feel that curling action from a different perspective, because it's super important and it's really hard. It took me it took me a long time to really build this awareness, and it's still something that I'm continuously understanding, because to actively round the spine is actually quite difficult. So we're going to do this in Baddha Konasana B, where so here you can just slouch, And we're just kind of passively rounding the spine, right? But in order to actively round the spine, start to feel that lift from above the pubic bone as you come forward and bring the forehead towards the toes. And feel actively like you're spreading the backside of the body. You're actively bringing the forehead towards the toes, and you're actively dropping the tailbone. Good. For 3, 2, keep lifting above the pubic bone. 1, breathing into the backside of the body. Inhale, come up. Good. And then exhale, just a counter pose. Let's do the straight forward fold, which is kind of weird because we usually do it the other direction. Just to open up the hips a little bit more, because that also might help with our lotus coming into the posture. Good, just a couple more breaths here. Good, and then slowly walk up. Good, okay. And now, if you have a full lotus, come into a full lotus. I want you to feel that activation of the rounding in just one more perspective. If you can't do lotus, then don't come into lotus. You're just gonna have your legs apart. And then you're gonna come over onto your forearms. But I want you to place your forearms on the floor so that the knees are touching the elbows. So if full lotus is not available to you, you're just going to do this with the toes tucked like this. You'll get the same, you'll get the same sensation. You'll still get the full effect of what I'm trying to communicate. So once you're here, I want you to press the elbows into the mat and see how right away when you press the elbows into the mat, the activation of the curling kind of turns on a little bit more. And I want you to internally squeeze the knees towards the elbows and squeeze the elbows down and towards the knees. Feel that rounding that's happening from the front of the body and from the back of the body. You're lengthening the back of the body while you're kind of like turning on and waking up the front of the body. Good. For 5. Pressing the elbows down and towards the knees. 4, and squeezing the knees towards the elbows. 3, relax the neck. 2, and 1. Come out of that. Oh, good. Yeah. Awesome. And now, of course, when you're upside down, bringing awareness to this curling of the spine becomes a lot harder, which is why we do all of these things to sort of wake up the awareness when we're in an orientation that's more familiar. Okay, if you want to take a vinyasa to sort of clear the slate, you can. And then I'm going to show you from headstand. So if you can't do the full lotus, then you can just do this with the legs not in lotus. You're going to come down into something that's more of like a tuck. And if you come all the way, it becomes something that looks like Bakasana. So let me show you first, because the way I like to think about, like I mentioned earlier, the way I like to think about Karandavasana is in 2 parts. I'm going to do it from headstand, just so I can make sure I can really like talk to you while I'm doing this. And the 2 parts are, first I'll show you in lotus, and then I'll show you without the lotus. The 2 parts are, like we did when we were lying down, just bringing the thighs to the chest. So we haven't moved the pelvis. So just going from here to here. That's part 1. Part 2 is the rounding. So this is the part when we were lying down, when we lifted the lower back off the floor, and this is going to be the rounding. So we're going to activate the rounding. Pressing through the elbows, curling the spine. Just see how low you can get. If you're not in lotus, bend. This is part 1, and now this is part 2. Rounding, rounding, rounding. Yeah? So you can do that in headstand, and you don't have to go as low as I went. You can just go as low as you can. And so it's super active. It's not that passive rounding, it's the active rounding of really drawing the lower belly and waking up the core muscles, the front of the body, and resisting the lowering by pressing the elbows into the mat, right? So that you don't have that like dropping. You have something counteracting the dropping to give it a little bit of resistance. And the best way I know how to kind of bring in that resistance is pressing the elbows down. Yeah, so if I give you just two things to think about is press the elbows down and engage the front of the body. To get the knees down and curling as much as you can. This is hard, but I think it's still fun to work with. And if you're not ready to do any of that upside down, then go back and sort of rework this drill of lying down. You know, you can do this drill lying down in lotus here, and you can see how it's the same thing, just oriented a little bit differently. Yeah? And for those of you who are interested, I can show this to you from the forearm stand. Of course, from the forearm stand, we haven't even really worked our Pincha Mayurasana. So if your shoulders feel up for that, maybe taking a little bit of a dolphin first. Of course, just working wherever you are, if you're ready. Good. And then I should also mention here, if you're having a hard time getting into the lotus, one thing that is nice is when you bring the right leg into the lotus, move the left leg back, and then before you bring the left foot in, move the left knee forward, like we did sitting down. That helps the foot slide down, and then slide the foot. And then part one, just bringing the lotus to the thighs. Part two, round. Press the elbows down, activate the front of the body. And then again, you could do that not in lotus. And I'm throwing a lot of options, so hopefully I'm like making it clear where you can work. And if it's not clear, you could always ask. Okay. Pincha Mayurasana without lotus. Tuck, just bring the thighs to the chest, part one. Part two, press the elbows and curl. So you're aiming the knees towards the armpits. Okay, I'll give you a few more minutes here. If anybody has any quick questions, now you can ask. If not, you can ask me at the end. I'm just gonna check you out. Nice, Belen. I like how you're using the wall. That's very creative. Yeah, you too, Charlotte. Yeah, and just go down like that, Belen. That's good. Half lotus is great. Good. And it's just so cool the perspective you get of the curling. You can't really get that in another posture. Just the way you're oriented. Good. I know I'm challenging you all a little bit. Nice, Vanja. I love that you guys are all trying. So cool. Nice, Charlotte. Yeah, just... Yeah, so close. So close. You could also just try the Bakasana. If the lotus is kind of too much for you right now, then, you know, work on Bakasana coming down. When I sprained my ankle, I couldn't do lotus in this. And I was so like amazed by like how much I was able to keep up my Karandavasana by just doing Bakasana for like a while. I had to do Bakasana coming down for like, I don't know, maybe a year. And like, I didn't lose it, you know? Okay. Nice, Kelly. Yeah, I could have given you a little bit more, that was so good. I could have given you a little bit more tips of getting into lotus from Pincha, but Keep working, of course you can keep working. But if you're done working, you can lie on your back. And we'll just do some finishing. But keep working, please, if you want to keep working. Obviously, you're home, you can do whatever you want. Good, nice, Henriette. Yeah, yeah. Move the right knee down. Good, 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 good. It's a fun mobility challenge to do lotus without hands. Yeah, maybe at first you're just doing one leg at a time. Of course, like the more open your hips are, of course, the easier it is to just whip your legs into that. Okay. All right, whenever you're ready, you can take a vinyasa and lie on your back, or just lie on your back, and we'll do some back bending. So inhale, taking a deep breath here. Exhale, reaching the pelvis, the tailbone forward and the knees forward. Inhale, lift the pelvis up. We'll just take a bridge for now. Really didn't do any back bending, so just kind of easing into this. If you need to take a supported bridge, you can place a block underneath the sacrum. Good, pressing through the feet, reaching the knees forward and feeling the front of the body lengthening. Good, one more breath here. And exhale, slowly roll down the spine. Good. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, tailbone forward, knees forward. Inhale, lift the pelvis. And then if you'd like, you can go into the full Urdhva Dhanurasana with the hands next to the ears. I'm going to stay here for today. Deep breaths, steady breaths. And when you're ready, roll down the spine. Good. And take one more on your own time for about 5 breaths. And when you're done with your back bends, you can hug the knees in. Rock side to side, maybe taking happy baby. And then a few more breaths, hugging the knees, allowing the tailbone to lift off the floor. You can take Chakrasana from here, or rock up to seated. Let's take a vinyasa. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, jump back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. Exhale, lie down. And we'll finish with some shoulder stands. So bringing the feet over the hips. You can stay here. I'm going to stay here for today. Or you can lift the hips and bring the hands to the lower back. And if you are doing that, make sure the shoulders are really down the back, shrugging the shoulders and moving the chin away from the chest. Legs are strong and awake, reaching the toes up, settling into the breath. And if there's space, allowing the breaths to slow down, lengthening the breaths. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Halasana, exhale. Bringing the feet over the head. Maybe the feet touch. If the feet touch, you have the option to interlace the fingers and straighten the arms. Or you can keep the pelvis on the floor like I'm doing. If you're in Halasana, keeping the spine straight, reaching the sit bones towards the ceiling. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Into Karandavasana, bending the knees. Let the knees come towards the floor and towards the ears. Or taking a version of happy baby. Good. In Karandavasana, you can allow the spine to round for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And let's finish the shoulder stand sequence. Urdhva Padmasana. Coming back into the shoulder stand. This is a fun opportunity to try to bring your legs into lotus without using your hands. So same thing, right leg and left leg. And then if at any moment you need to recruit the help of the hands, you could absolutely do that. And then you can either keep the hand on the lower back or maybe bringing the hands to the knees. And again, you could do this with your pelvis on the floor. Just orient it a little bit differently. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pindasana resembles very much the coming down in Karandavasana, bringing the knees down towards you as you round the spine and curl the spine. Not so much if you're lying down like me, the pelvis is on the floor, but if you're doing the full version, then you really have to round the spine. So feel that rounding, that curling of the spine. As you bring the knees towards you and you wrap the arms around you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Bring the lotus down. The pelvis down and the lotus down. Coming into Matsyasana. Top of the head on the mat. Lifting the spine, extending the spine. Hands come to the feet. Good. 5, 4, deep breaths. 3, 2, 1, keep the head where it is, palms together, straighten the legs for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Tuck the chin. Good. Exhale into Chakrasana or rock up to seated. Step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. Let's take a full lotus. If you want to try coming into full lotus with no hands, you can. Not necessary though. Wrap the arms around the back. Taking the bind, just grabbing onto opposite elbows. Inhale and exhale, fold. Settling in. Following the breath. Feeling the breath. For 5. Maintaining your own pace. 4. 3. 2. 1. Exhale completely. Inhale, come up. Release the hands, bring the wrist towards the knees, the pointer towards the thumb. Gently straightening the arms, lengthening the spine, dropping the chin. Feeling that lift just above the pubic bone. In and out through the nostrils with the tone in the vocal cords, but releasing the soft palate. Allowing the breath to unfold. Few more breaths at your own pace. One more breath at your own pace. I'm releasing that. One final effort, Uplutuhi, hands in front of the hips. Inhale, lift up. You could also do this with the shins crossed. 1, 2, 3, 4, like this, shins crossed. 5, 6, shoulders forward. 7, look up. 8, lift up. 9, and 10, lower down. Good, let's take one final vinyasa. Inhale, come to a seated position. We'll do the closing mantra before taking final rest. Finding a comfortable seat, palms together, Anjali Mudra. Swasti prajabhyaha paripalayantan nyayena margena Mahim Mahishaha Ko Brahmanebhyaha Shubhamastu Nityam Lokha Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Make your way to a final resting pose for just a few minutes, lying on your back. To rest the body, to rest the mind. Allowing the residue of the practice to move deeply and integrate deeply. Feel free to stay here longer if you'd like. But if you're ready, you can start to deepen the breath. Move the fingers and the toes. Reach the arms of your head. Inhale, deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring the knees into the chest. And falling over to either side. With as little effort as possible, making your way to a seated position. We'll just take one final moment here, closing the eyes if you'd like, or having them half open, gazing downward. And just sitting in this space for a moment. Holding on to the space of the practice, feeling into it, appreciating it, honoring it. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here.